This is already taking me back. The strongest sense of vertigo. Guys, that is where the obsession started. And then I also eat a Tums before bed, and then probably in the middle of the night at some point. I also experienced my second bleed. And hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope y'all are doing super duper well. I thought we could take a mini break today from the third trimester vlogs and baby hauls before I forget to do a second trimester recap. I loved having the first trimester recap to look back on, so I definitely want to make sure I do this one. And I had been jotting down symptoms and things I experienced week by week in the second trimester that I want to share with you all. If this is the first time you are stumbling across my channel, hello, my name is Mac. My husband's name is Jack. Yes, Mac and Jack. And we went on a 3-year infertility journey that led us up to this point, and we are extremely grateful. Everything about our infertility and that fertility journey is going to be linked below in case you want to binge those videos. But make sure to subscribe before you leave because I would love to have you. Because we're getting close. Baby girl here, we're getting real close. Just like I did for the first trimester, I noted as the weeks went on in the second trimester if I was experiencing any symptoms. And if I came across a week where I didn't experience anything, I just didn't jot anything down. Every pregnancy is so incredibly different. So if you resonate with any of these things, or you have different symptoms that you experienced during your second trimester, I'd love to know them. Leave them in the comments below. But without further ado, let's get into it. This is already taking me back. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I start off at 14 weeks, and I remember this, but I wouldn't have if I didn't write it down. I, at 14 weeks, was experiencing the strongest sense of vertigo or dizzy spells when I would tilt my head or when I would get up, etc. And it turns out that that is extremely normal, specifically at 14 weeks. Because before I wrote my doctor in my portal, because I had an appointment with her a few days later anyway, I looked up in the massive handbook that they gave me when we first established care with my OB, and literally in the back of the book where you look up all of the terms, you look up dizziness, and literally there's like all these subjects having to do with dizziness and all that stuff, and literally one of them was 14 weeks. Like, I'm not even kidding, it couldn't have been more specific. And it turns out around the 14-week mark, your blood flow to your uterus and the placenta is extremely high. Like, it just kind of skyrockets at that point. And so a lot of women do experience this, and I definitely was one of them. It was at 14 weeks that I also experienced my second bleed. So there was just a lot of blood flow going on in all sorts of ways. I'll also try to remember to link this video, but I experienced a subchorionic hematoma and hemorrhage, or a few hemorrhages, in my pregnancy. It was incredibly scary, but it was incredibly unharmful to the pregnancy and the baby, which I'm so grateful for. And most times that is the case. It's just very scary. The first bleed landed me in the ER because I was like, what the heck is going on? And then with the second bleed, I just called my doctor's office, let them know what was going on. They told me things to watch out for, and it subsided and passed just like the first one did. I also have noted at 14 weeks McDonald's breakfast sandwiches. Guys, that is where the obsession started. If you've been watching the vlog, you can see that that obsession has continued, and it's still to this day continuing, but that's where it started, was 14 weeks. At 15 weeks, I noted that my appetite had picked up and that I can only be full for about an hour before needing more food. Like, I could eat an entire meal, be full, not be able to eat a single bite more, and then 1 hour later I'm hungry again. Like, that, I remember that. That was nuts. I also noted sharp pains occasionally, not horrible, but maybe round ligament pain. And now that I'm further along in my pregnancy, I think that's exactly what I was experiencing, and sometimes I'll still experience it. Just with all the growth and everything, it's not like a deep down uterine pain. It's more of ligament-y, like more on the surface, like more muscly, you know? At 16 weeks, I had my last bleed, although I didn't know it was my last last bleed at that point, but I noted it now that it was my last bleed. It's never fun, but this being my third bleed of the pregnancy, I wasn't super worried. And I remember for each of these bleeds, the second and the third, I was able to just go into my OB's office and they were able to listen to the heartbeat just to reassure me, and I loved that for me. I also noted that this is when I started to notice it's harder to roll over at night or get up from the couch. And here, sitting here in the third trimester, it's wild to note that that's when I noted it first. Like at 16 weeks, I was like, it's starting to get difficult to roll over. Now it's like a full-on Olympic sports to roll over. Jack full-on has to help me out of the car at some points at this point. It's crazy. At 17 weeks, I said the sharp pains when moving too fast or standing up after a while. Again, now that I look back at it, round ligament pain for sure. At 18 weeks, I noted lemonade. That's when my obsession with lemonade became a thing, specifically Chick-fil-A lemonade. Oh my gosh, Chick-fil-A lemonade is just good pregnancy or no pregnancy. Like, it's so good. I also noted that my skin and hair had changed. Like, that's when I noticed that things had changed as far as the pH and the balance of both my skin and hair. My skin was then responding better to a cleanser that it used to hate, and it was hating the oily skin cleansers that it used to love. So I naturally have just more oily skin, and I use cleansers pertaining to that, and all of a sudden my skin hated those ones. And when I tried another cleanser that was for normal type or just kind of in between, my skin freaking loved it. It's wild. And then I said my hair can go more days with less oil now, which I've tried to train it to do for years, and I was never able to accomplish it. And before anyone comments, you just have to stick through it, you have to comb it once. No. There is hair out there that does not do well if it is not washed every other day or even every day. It's just how the hair is. And unfortunately, my hair usually is like that. It's just an oily mess. I have some things to combat it, like dry shampoo and lathering twice in the shower, etc. But I noticed in pregnancy, I can go what feels to me much longer without having to shampoo my hair, which is actually really nice because I've been trying to get it there for years. And it took pregnancy to get there. I'm curious what it'll be like afterwards though. I'm gonna miss that. At 20 weeks, that is when my ankles and feet swelling started. And I'm so glad I noted that because I don't remember a day now past that where they're not slightly swollen. And the thing is, the pregnancy apps are so specific because specifically with this symptom, but also other symptoms, I'll notice them and then the next day or the next couple of days, I'll look in the pregnancy app when I turn like a new week and there's more information to read. And so say a few days before 20 weeks, I started noticing that my ankles were like kind of starting to swell. The pregnancy app literally 2 days later when I went to read it would say, you might be starting to notice your ankles are swelling. It's so crazy how like spot on they are with the timing of things. As the days and as the weeks went on though, I noticed that the swelling was just so much worse with the heat and humidity, and unfortunately this was in the dead of summer. So there were many nights where the feet would be up, the ice packs would be on, and it definitely helped, but sometimes there was just no combating it. I never tried compression socks. I just could not imagine putting compression socks on my legs in the dead of summer, but I hear that those can help a ton just in case you guys are suffering with crazy swelling. But as soon as we would have a cooler day or a day that wasn't so humid, I could totally see a difference. It's like I could see my ankle bones all over again. It was wild. And then skipping forward to the 25-week mark, I noted that my heartburn was now consistent. I said I have a TUM at least once per day. And it's funny that I could get by with only one looking back at that. Like, that was when it was consistent. But now whenever I'm in the gym and I'm doing squats or doing some sort of lift like that, the heartburn is so crazy. I have to make sure that I eat a Tums before going into the gym. And then I also eat a Tums before bed. And then probably in the middle of the night at some point, I'll wake up and eat a Tums as well. But that at 25 weeks, that is when I realized that the Tums were a consistent thing for me and the heartburn was a consistent thing. It was also at 25 weeks that I noted that that is officially where I had to take off my rings. So the feet and the ankle swelling started about 5 weeks before then, but my fingers were holding out until then. And yeah, they're definitely bigger. You guys probably wouldn't notice, but they're definitely larger, more rounded than they were. My rings would definitely not fit on these fingers right now. All of those symptoms aside, and honestly even the bleeds aside, I look back at my second trimester with such fondness. I look at this whole pregnancy with such fondness, even with how much it took to get here and how scary the bleeds were in the beginning and how anxiety inducing pregnancy after infertility or loss can be. My second trimester specifically was a dream. I know there are women out there that experience nausea into their second trimester. It's definitely possible, but overall, what they say about the second trimester, if you are in the first trimester right now wondering if it gets better, yes. For me, it was night and day, so you have a lot of good to look forward to. I got my belly really in the second trimester, so I looked pregnant. I was proud of my belly, but I wasn't dying on my couch, like waiting for the nausea to subside or waiting for that ginger tea to kick in, you know? The energy was great, the bump was great, and it was such a celebratory time with friends and family. So I definitely look back at it with a lot of fondness, but now I can't wait until she's here. I sort of can. I feel like I have some more to-dos before she gets here, but I'm just getting really, really excited. So again, if you resonated with any of those symptoms or you want to share your own that you experienced, make sure to comment down below. I would love to read them. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure to do so down below because I upload videos like these every single week. All of my socials are also linked down below in case you want to follow me on those. And I will catch you guys in the next one, my friends. I'll see you later. Bye.